What if I told you? The most terrifying truth about space isn't aliens or black holes, but a silent chain reaction that might have already begun. Today you'll learn three things nobody talks about. 1. The exact altitude where debris is now multiplying on its own. 2. The single collision that nearly ended the space age overnight. And 3. The secret report that reveals we might already be trapped. By the time you finish this video, you'll never look at the night sky the same way. For decades, engineers believed in the big sky theory. Space is so vast, collisions are impossible. And honestly, that sounds reasonable. Until you look at the data, the European Space Agency now tracks over 36,000 objects larger than a softball, a million between 1 and 10 centimeters, and a staggering 130 million smaller than a marble. And every single one of them is a bullet traveling at 17,500 miles per hour. The big sky just became a shooting gallery. Now, you've probably been told that the Kessler Syndrome is a sudden apocalyptic event, one collision, and instantly humanity is trapped on Earth. Even some sci-fi movies show a flash and then silence. But here's what the original data actually says. In 1978, NASA scientist Donald Kessler published a paper in the Journal of Geophysical Research. He didn't describe an instant doomsday. He described a gradual, decades-long cascade, a slow increase in collision probability until debris becomes self-sustaining. It's not an explosion, it's a creeping paralysis. That brings us to the first of the three things I promised. The altitude where the cascade is already real. According to a 2006 study in Science by Liu and Johnson, between 800 and 1,000 kilometers up, the debris density has crossed the critical threshold. Even if every space agency stopped launching tomorrow, debris in that band would keep multiplying. Collisions would generate more fragments, which cause more collisions forever. We are past the point of no return at that altitude, and nobody told you. Now, let me share the second thing, the collision that almost ended everything. February 10, 2009, an active Iridium-33 communication satellite and a defunct Russian Cosmos 2251 military satellite, both traveling at extreme speeds. They smashed together over Siberia. In a single second, they produced over 2,000 trackable fragments. NASA's Orbital Debris Quarterly News confirmed that this one event increased the debris population at that altitude by more than 10%. Overnight, it was a dress rehearsal for the cascade, and we barely dodged the bullet. But wait, it gets worse. Remember in 2007 when China shot down its own weather satellite Fengyun 1C in an anti-satellite test? That single act created 3,527 cataloged debris pieces, the largest debris-generating event in history. And those fragments aren't going anywhere for decades. They're crossing all orbital planes, raising the background collision risk everywhere. Think about that. One political decision. Decades of consequences. In November 2021, Russia tested a direct ascent ASAT missile on its defunct Cosmos 1408 satellite. The International Space Station was so threatened, NASA ordered astronauts to take emergency shelter. They closed hatches and prepared to abandon the station if a breach occurred. This was not a drill. And that debris cloud is still up there, still threatening every satellite in its path. One reckless act, and we all held our breath. Here's the thing, the real story isn't just the big collisions. It's the daily invisible war. Every single day, satellites perform frantic avoidance maneuvers. The ISS has done 32 of them since 1999, with 3 in 2022 alone. And those are just the ones we know about. The U.S. Space Force's new Space Fence radar can track objects as small as a marble. Yet over 90% of lethal debris is still invisible. Unseen bullets, swarming our most vital infrastructure. Now, let me ask you the question that keeps orbital scientists up at night. Have you ever looked up at the night sky and wondered if a silent chain reaction up there could one day destroy our future in space? Do you think space agencies are being transparent enough? Or are they hiding the real danger? Because what I'm about to tell you next, about the economic apocalypse and the secret report insurance companies don't want you to see, might make you question everything. Drop your story in the comments, I read them all. And now the third thing I promised, the secret that suggests we're already trapped. In 2023, the ESA confirmed that over 60% of all cataloged objects are fragments from previous collisions or explosions. Not intact satellites, debris. The cascade is no longer theoretical. It's the dominant feature of our orbital environment. Meanwhile, a NASA technical report from 2011 warned that without active debris removal, the most congested orbits will be unusable within 50 years. And that forecast was optimistic. We are generating debris faster than we can track it. Mega constellations like SpaceX's Starlink have made things terrifyingly clear. In just 6 months from December 2022 to May 2023, Starlink satellites performed over 25,000 collision avoidance maneuvers. Let that sink in. That number doubled year over year. We've gone from a quiet orbital freeway to a demolition derby. More satellites mean more objects to dodge, more maneuvers, and each maneuver burns precious fuel. We can't keep this up forever. And that's where the real nightmare begins. Imagine a full cascade that wipes out low Earth orbit. No GPS. Your phone maps stop. Flights grounded. Financial transactions that rely on GPS timing to the millisecond. Gone. Weather forecasting collapses. The global economy, built on the invisible backbone of satellites, would hemorrhage trillions in days. It's not just about losing internet. It's about supply chains breaking, food rotting in ports, and a world plunged into technological regression. Here's why it's permanent. Debris above 600 kilometers stays for centuries. The Kessler cascade at those altitudes would create a shell of destruction around Earth that our grandchildren's grandchildren would still be dodging. Asteroid mining, colonizing Mars, even leaving the planet for interstellar exploration. All locked behind a wall of high-speed shrapnel. We could literally create our own prison. And we're doing it right now. Let's recap the 3 things I promised. First, the altitude where the cascade is self-sustaining. 800 to 1,000 km, already breached. Second, the 2009 Qviora Cosmos collision that woke us up. Third, the secret that we're trapped. And it's this. A 2011 NASA report explicitly states that without active cleanup, entire orbital shells become impassable within 50 years. We've burned through half that time already. The point of no return wasn't a single event. It was a slow tipping point we crossed years ago, while we were busy looking the other way. So here's the unshakable truth. There is no off-ramp. Even if we stopped all launches tonight, the debris already up there would continue colliding and multiplying for decades. We are not passive victims. Every launch we add is another ticket in a lottery we can't win. Some scientists believe we've already locked ourselves in at certain altitudes, and we're just waiting for the cascade to become too visible to ignore. The question is no longer if, it's when. But imagine, what if we do fight back? The same AI that dodges debris could hunt it down. New missions aim to grab defunct satellites with harpoons and nets. But the clock is ticking, and the debris keeps multiplying. In our next deep dive, we'll explore the radical, last-ditch efforts to clean up orbit, and whether we can beat the cascade before it's too late. Make sure you're subscribed, because the next video might just decide if your children ever reach the stars, or if we've already built our cage.